Abram went up out of Egypt, he, his wife, all that he had, and Lot with him. Into the south, to Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver and in gold. 3 he went on his journeys from the south as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, 4 to the place of the altar, which he had made there at the first. There Abram called on Yahweh's name. 5 Lot also, who went with Abram, had flocks, herds, and tents. 6 the land was not able to bear them, that they might live together, for their possessions were so great that they couldn't live together. 7 there was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. The Canaanites and the Perizzites lived in the land at that time. 8 Abram said to Lot, please let there be no strife between you and me, and between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, for we are relatives. 9 isn't the whole land before you? Please separate yourself from me. If you go to the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if you go to the right hand, then I will go to the left. 10 Lot lifted up his eyes and saw all the plain of the Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before Yahweh destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, like the garden of Yahweh, like the land of Egypt. As you go to Zor 11, so Lot chose the plain of the Jordan for itself. Lot traveled east and they separated themselves from one another. 12 Abram lived in the land of Canaan, and Lot lived in the cities of the plain, and moved his tent as far as Sodom. 13 Now the men of Sodom were exceedingly wicked and sinners against Yahweh. 14 Yahweh said to Abram after Lot was separated from him, now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward and southward and eastward and westward. 15 For I will give all the land which you see to you and to your offspring forever, and I will make your offspring as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can count the dust of the earth, and your offspring may also be counted. 17 Arise, walk through the land in its length and in its width, for I will give it to you. 18 Abram moved his tent and came and lived by the oaks of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and built an altar there to Yahweh. In the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elisor, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goyim, till they made war with Bera, king of Sodom, Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela. All these joined together in the valley of Siddim. They served Chedorlaomer for 12 years, and in the 13th year they rebelled. 5 In the 14th year Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him came and struck the Rephaim and Ashtaroth Karnaim, the Zuzim and Ham, the Ammon and Shaveh Kiriathaim, 6 and the Horites in their Mount Seir, to El Paran, which is by the wilderness, 7 they returned and came to En Mishpat, and struck all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites that lived in Hazazon Tamar, 8 the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela. Went out and they set the battle in array against them in the valley of Siddim, line against Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Goyim, and Riphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings against the 510. Now the valley of Siddim was full of tar pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, and some fell there. Those who remained fled to the hills. 11 they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their food and went their way. 12 they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who lived in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. 13 one who had escaped came and told Abram the Hebrew. At that time he lived by the oaks of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and brother of Hannah. They were allies of Abram. 14 when Abram heard that his relative was taken captive, he laid out his 318 train and board in his house, and pursued as far as Dan. 15 he divided himself against them by night. He and his servants had struck them and pursued them to Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. 16 he brought back all the goods, and also brought back his relative Lot and his goods, and the women also, and the other people. 17 the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer, and the kings who were with him at the valley of Shaveh. The king of Sodom and king of Salem brought out bread and wine. He was priest of God Most High. 19 he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth. 23 But I will not take a thread, nor a sandal strap, nor anything that is yours, lest he should say, I have made Abram rich. 24 I will accept nothing from you, except that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the man who went with thee, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Let them take their portion. After these things, Yahweh's word came to Abram in a vision, saying, Don't be afraid, Abram, I am your shield, your exceedingly great reward. Abram said, Lord Yahweh, what will you give me, since I go childless? And he who will inherit my estate is Eliezer of Damascus. Abram said, "Behold, you have given no children to me, and behold, one born in my house is my heir." Behold, Yahweh's word came to him, saying, "This man will not be your heir, but he who will come out of your own body will be your heir." Yahweh brought him outside and said, "Look now toward the sky and count the stars, if you are able to count them." He said to Abram, "So your offspring will be 6." He believed in Yahweh, who credited it to him for righteousness. 7. He said to Abram, "I am Yahweh who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldees to give you this land to inherit it." He said, "The Lord Yahweh, how will I know that I will inherit it?" He said to him, "Bring me a heifer 3 years old, a female goat 3 years old, a ram 3 years old, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon." He brought him all these and divided them in the middle, and laid each half opposite the other. But he didn't divide the birds. 11. The birds of prey came down on the carcasses, and Abram drove them away. 12. When the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell on Abram. Now terror and great darkness fell on him. 13. He said to Abram, "Know for sure that your offspring will live as foreigners in a land that is not theirs, and will serve them. They will afflict them 400 years. 14. I will also judge that nation whom they will serve. Afterward they will come out with great wealth." 15. "Though you go to your fathers in peace, you will be buried at a good old age." 16. "In the 4th generation they will come here again, for the iniquity of the Amorites not yet full." It came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a flaming torch passed between these pieces. 18. In that day Yahweh made a covenant with Abram, saying, "I have given this land to your offspring, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, the land of the Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites. 20. The Hittites, the Perizzites, the Rephaim. 21. The Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, and the Jebusites.